The new Sonos Move 2 or the original Sonos Move? What's the difference and where is the smart money spent? Let's find out. Hey guys, Elliot from Smart Home Sounds here, and since the launch of Move 2, we've had loads of you getting in touch with questions around Move versus Move 2 and asking for buying advice. So throughout this video, I'm going to be breaking it down for you and sharing the pros and cons for each of these speakers to help you really decide which to go for if you're coming in fresh, and whether it's worth upgrading if you've already got your hands on the Move Gen 1. For context, as of right now when we're filming this video, you can buy both Move 1 and Move 2, which is why the question of which to go for is so relevant right now. Whether Sonos will eventually discontinue Move 1, we'll have to wait and see, but if you do go for the Move 1, then it's good to know your product will be supported for at least 5 years, as stated by Sonos. And of course, I'm sure we'll see people reselling their original Moves over the next few years, so hopefully this video will help down the line too. First up then is the Move 1, and this one comes in with an RRP of £399. Now, it's worth noting, as we've seen with other Sonos speakers in the past, now that there's a second gen version on the market, we could be set to see a few more good deals floating around, which could make this a much more tempting offer. Internally, Move 1 is a pretty traditional mono speaker, making use of two Class D digital amplifiers, one downwards firing tweeter, and one mid-woofer. It's nice and durable with its IP56 rating, so it's dust and water resistant, and it supports both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth 4.1. In terms of battery life, you're going to be getting 11 hours on a single full charge, and you'll also benefit from auto TruePlay and voice control via Sonos Voice, Amazon Alexa, or Google Assistant. The Move 2, however, comes in with a price tag of $449, so it's £50 more expensive, but it brings a series of upgrades as the second generation model. Firstly, you've got this refreshed top panel with that volume slider. Move 2 also changes the colorways slightly to be more in line with the latest Sonos releases. Both Move 1 and Move 2 come with charging bases, and again, we see a few tweaks here with a now detachable and more compact plug on the Move 2 version. When it comes to sound performance, we step up to stereo sound rather than mono, with three Class D amplifiers powering dual tweeters and a mid-bass woofer internally. We still keep the same IP56 rating as the Sonos Move 1, but we do step up to Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.0 connectivity. Besides the upgrades to sound quality, the two biggest upgrades are an upgraded 24-hour battery life and new USB-C functionality, meaning you can connect external audio sources like a turntable, and you can charge your device with a built-in power bank. And yes, you've still got auto TruePlay on this one, as well as voice control, though unlike Move 1, there is no support for Google Assistant on the Move 2. Okay, so those are the key differences, but is the Move 2 really worth the step up in cost? Well, I reckon that's going to depend on what your non-negotiables are, so I've come up with 4 key things to think about that might help you make this decision. Number 1, sound performance. Of course, this is one of the big ones when you're in the market for a new speaker. To keep things sweet, if these two were both at the same price point, it would be an easy win for the Move 2. However, with the Move 1 coming in cheaper, it becomes a lot harder to quantify how much better it sounds for that step up in price. Now, I'm going to let you guys have a quick listen, but usual disclaimer, as always, what you hear over YouTube isn't going to be exactly what we're hearing here in the studio, but it should give you a rough idea of what to expect from this one. Okay, hopefully that gave you a good idea of what the differences are. Now, if you've watched our Move 2 review, you'll know we've tested both of these extensively. The Move 1 was, in my eyes, a great sounding speaker when it launched, and the arrival of the Move 2 doesn't take away from that. But this new generation does deliver stereo sound with a wider soundstage and vocals that come through the track cleaner. There is also a notable step up in the mid-bass performance too, which adds to the overall immersion you get from this speaker. It feels like it adds an extra layer to tracks. So for those looking for the better sounding speaker, it's a no-brainer. That being said, in terms of pound for pound performance, the Move 1 is still a top performer, and if you're not the type of person who needs the best of the best and will be listening to this more casually, maybe out in the garden or around the home, then you might feel you get enough performance from the original Move. Right, number 2, battery life. Like I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest upgrades on the Move 2 is the fact that it offers more than double the battery life of the original, which is a massive plus in our opinion. The original Move's 11-hour battery life wasn't necessarily bad, but it did fall behind a lot of its competitors in this department, so it's great to see an upgrade here, especially if you're the type of person who's planning on moving this portable around your home a lot. I know exactly what I'm like with my current Move, taking it into the bathroom, kitchen, out into the garden, so to know I've got that peace of mind that I'm not going to be cut from my music when I've been listening away from the dock for a while makes this upgrade very tempting for me especially. You've also got a more efficient idle battery drain on Move 2 as well, which we tested out with both Moves in our full Move 2 review and found that after 40 hours in idle mode, the Move 2 dropped from 100% to 98% with power save on and 91% with it off. And the Move 1 dropped all the way to 68% with that same power save mode turned on. So a big plus if you're one of those who likes to leave it off the dock for days on end. Now, for me and the way I would use the Move, I think the added battery improvements make this a no-brainer, but it's worth thinking about how you're actually going to be using it. As a general rule of thumb, I think if you're planning on keeping the Move on the dock a lot, maybe like 50% of the time or more, and you'll only be taking it out into the garden for a few hours every now and again, you'll most likely be fine with the original battery life of the Move 1. But if you're like me and see yourself moving it around the house and leaving it in different spaces for much longer, then Move 2 makes a lot more sense. Okay, number 3 then, those additional USB-C features. So not only can the Move 2's USB-C be used for charging just like the Move 1, but it now offers extra connectivity options and functionality that could make it a much more attractive offer for some of you. Previously, if you wanted to connect a turntable or something like that to the Move, you would have needed to connect via Bluetooth to a Bluetooth turntable. However, now if you use a Sonos line-in adapter, which you will have to pay extra for, you can connect directly with an aux cable, offering loads more flexibility. Now, admittedly, this won't be a key feature for everyone, but it will be a brilliant addition for anyone looking to integrate an external audio source into their Sonos system. Whether you're planning on hooking it up to a PC or a turntable, you can then stream that audio throughout your home via the Sonos app. With this USB-C line in, you've also got that power bank capability too, which might not be enough to convince you on its own, but it's another bit of really neat functionality that does go a long way to making the Move 2 feel like a better package overall. Last but not least then, number 4, the refreshed appearance. Now, this is one of the upgrades that's going to be a little bit more divisive when it comes to value for money. Side by side, the Move 2 does look very similar to the original Move, and in terms of shape, size and weight, they are literally the same. The tweaks admittedly are subtle, but I do personally prefer the indented volume slider, the new colorways, and I'm also a pretty big fan of that upgraded charging base too. Would I say the design improvements alone are worth the extra cost? Maybe not. The Move 1 is perfectly functional and still looks great too, and I don't think you're going to be crying out for that volume slider, for example, if you've already got the Move 1 at home. But coming in fresh, I do think the Move 2 takes the edge design-wise for me, so something to consider there. So is it worth the extra money? Well, that's going to depend on your personal preference. For me, if you're coming in fresh and you think you're going to make use of a few of the new features and want that upgraded stereo sound, then it's definitely worth the additional money in my eyes. However, if not many of those upgrades are ticking boxes for you, then of course the Move 1 could still be a great bargain. It still sounds impressive, works really well, and has that modern and durable feel that you'd expect from this sort of speaker. So if you can find a good deal, it could definitely offer better bang for your buck and is worth considering. There's really no right or wrong here, it just depends on what you value most. Is it pure performance or simply value for money? Okay, another big one you guys have been asking is whether or not you should be upgrading from Move 1 if you've already got it. Well, to be honest with you, the conversation covers a lot of the same ground. For some of you, the extended battery life alone is going to make this worthwhile, and those extra enhancements are simply going to be the cherry on top. So If battery life is your main priority, I'd probably say go for it. One thing worth highlighting as well is the replaceable Sonos battery packs, as you can actually use the Move 2's battery in the Move 1. Now, we were hoping that would double the battery life of the original Move, but that's just not the case, sadly. The upgraded battery will take the Move 1's battery up by about 25% to 13.5 hours, but it won't reach the same 24 hours we get on Move 2, which overall is a much more efficient speaker. For those of you wondering if the difference in sound quality is enough to warrant the step up, well, it's a tough one to call. I 100% think the Move 2 is the better sounding speaker, but I don't think I'd be going out and buying a whole brand new speaker just to experience it. The only exception here would be if you could sell your Move 1 on and make a bit of money back on it. I've had a look online, and if it's in good condition, you could probably get around £200 to £250 for it, which might help justify buying the Move 2. Ultimately, the thing to remember here is while a new upgrade is exciting and we're always happy to see new generations bring multiple upgrades, it shouldn't take away any of the enjoyment from its predecessor. That being said, I know there are certain people out there, me being one of them, that had a few gripes with the original Move that have now been solved with Move 2. So if I can find a new home for my Move 1, I know I'm going to enjoy the Move 2 even more so. It all just comes down to your specific use case. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this one though, guys. If you've got any more questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the comments below. Take it easy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.